which is AI and ethics in workplace, balancing productivity, privacy, and trust. This will be taken by Anjan A, VP Talent Management from Northern Trust. He is a seasoned HR professional with over 16 years of experience at Northern Trust, where he currently serves as VP in HR Talent Management and Development Team. Anjan is also an active member of Toastmaster and holds the International Competent Leader certification. Can we have a huge round of applause for Anjan?
All right, so good evening, everybody. Uh, I know there's this cliche that people say that I'm the last one here, so you'll have to listen to me, but unfortunately you have to, okay? So, and it's a very interesting topic. I'll try to keep it as engaging as I can. I'll try to keep it as succinct as I can to share this with you, but we are all battling with some of these challenges today with AI. So I call this human at the center. Never forget the human in AI. So welcome again. Thank you for being here. AI is moving from what we had as a theory or a practice to operational reality today, and that's what we see. We constantly talk about judgment, governance, and how we can have AI adopted. So, but I have a personal premise that I always advocate for, that you can have AI reshape all organizations and workforce, but you can't take away the human from it. And the human always remains at the center. So let's start with that. Okay, so here's, okay, 1 minute. So what are we, the question I want to ask all of you is, what are we optimizing for today? Let's take a moment and think about it. What are we really optimizing for? Are we optimizing for speed, volume, scale, automation? Yes, don't take me wrong, all of that is really, really important today. And it is not. But there's also something that doesn't come up neatly on a lot of dashboards today. And that's on the right side. You have judgment, trust, creativity, dignity. All of these also matter. And in today's era, it is important because so we've spent decades optimizing for speed, but the next era is going to be defined on what we refuse to automate and what we refuse to optimize. I think it takes a human to make that decision to say what we do not optimize and what we remain or keep as human as we move into this era. So when we look at the pressure, but the workload pressure that all of us have today is quite large. And if you think about it, Microsoft did a study about this, and they found out that an employee on an average, if you see an employee, every 2 minutes, they are pinged, and there's about 275 interruptions per day for the employee, all right, of pings to say it could be support, it could be query, it could be anything that comes in their day. And 60% of the meetings that happen, hand on heart, everybody sitting here in all of our organizations, 60% of the meetings that happen are ad hoc, right? And they're unscheduled, unplanned, they're reactive. And this is even more startling. 122% of spike in last 10 minutes of PPT edits happen before a meeting. Okay, that's the numbers that we have today. And the work is so already overwhelming, we want AI to reduce noise, not add more noise or add more work to it. But it's easy said than done. How do we make that happen? So the adoption today is far from few. If you look at the adoption paradox, 92% of the companies today are saying that they are planning to increase their investment in AI. And we've seen this in the news, right? We've all seen this. They plan to. Oracle is a fantastic example that we had recently, right? There's an AI investment that's going on. But are companies mature enough? And sadly, only 1% of them say that they are mature enough for deployment. So 92% are investing, but we don't know where we're getting to. The possibilities of being mature is only 1%. And if you look at leaders, a lot of leaders, as all of us collectively, there is a paradigm that only 4% of the employees today are using AI for 30% of their work day. But if you go back and check when McKinsey did the study, when they actually ask employees, they say 13% is the actual number, when employees are adopting AI for using for their day-to-day work. So silently and subtly, AI is moving faster, deeper, sharper than what we can think and comprehend beyond. So it's important to understand these statistics as we look at AI and how it's being adopted. So how does productivity get redefined? And don't take me wrong here, I'll be very clear. Productivity is important, outcomes matter, time matter, productivities matter. And without that, none of us is going to have our jobs there, right? But the study that Edelman conducted in 2025 shows that the way ahead is going to be AI plus human. It's not AI replacing human technology, but AI augmenting human capability. So when we went and checked people who have early adopters of AI, 65% of people who have used AI have said their speed is increased by that much, the frequent AI users, and 57% increase in creativity, and 60% of them have said they're a better approach to problem solving. So those are numbers out there today. So productivity is not unethical. Productivity without human purpose is. And that's what I want to leave you with today. And the major aspect to bind all of this together in today's organization that we're facing, all of us are facing as a problem today, is trust. Trust, ideally, is the multiplier. So I'll tell you, in the US, most companies, in terms of how the employees feel, in terms of AI usage, when they see that AI is helping them, the usability of AI moved from, or the trust on AI moved from 33% to 68%. And that's a startling number in terms of trusting. And it is also backed by these organizations and the employers to help them have that opportunity to use AI. So trust doubles when AI actually helps people. And 71% of people do trust that their employer to roll out AI ethically. So today, every single employee out there are not saying no to AI, but they're only wanting to see how it gets rolled out with enough aspect of AI, with intent, with due respect, and understanding to what they do and the purpose of what they do today. So trust is not the reward after an AI works, but that it is the condition that makes AI work in any organization today. And that's how it is. So trust is the multiplier. Now, it is, when you talk about all of this and there comes this spin with the AI, is privacy. Now, privacy with dignity is what I'd like to call it, because today data is complemented in very different ways. When it comes to AI, when it comes to data about us, about the organization, about how we use data. So it is a big terminology for people to talk about today. And when leaders sit down across the table, they think about it, they identify how AI can shape the future, how can they shape the organization. My mantra is very simple. I call it CEP. Okay? It is collect less, collect data only where it's necessary, explain more. It's always important to share intent. You can go on and communicate to say we're doing this, we're doing that, but if you're not going to share intent, anybody in any organization is not going to understand what it means to them and why there is an adoption happening. And then 3, preserve human review. Very important, because keep people in the loop, inconsequential decisions, because you can get all the data you need. You can get all the analytics. AI can do everything for you, but only a human can make that decision to understand how the nuances really work. You need a human to make that decision. So data may be digital, dignity is always human. And that's how I'd like to probably shape this together, okay? And if you go back, I'll bring a real life example here that we've probably, something that I was trying to search from a period of time for us to understand this. It's a cautionary case, a warning sign if maybe. So Amazon, what they did was they trained AI recruitment tool, and they tried to bring that in. So what they did is they had data that they had stored over a period of time in terms of resumes that they had collected over a period of time. So they fed information of those resumes to the data. But what happened is they didn't realize that the data in the database that they had over a period of time, it trained on a decade of male-dominated hiring data. So when the AI started working, it started throwing anomalies and penalizing resumes that had the word women or women's, etc. in it. Yes. So it's not that, now I'm not saying that AI is biased. All I'm saying is your historical data, if it is biased, can cascade and can automate historical bias further on as well. So again, it's important as leaders that we step in and ask those questions a little earlier. Only when we ask the right questions is when we will be able to fix some of these things. Of course, this was abandoned. This project never went through. It was abandoned, it was taken away. But I think the lesson that you learn from there is you need leadership to come in, ask the right questions, ensure when you're deploying something, they deploy and comprehend the data to understand if you're really teaching the model what it needs to learn. Because relearn, unlearn, I'm sure is not going to work with a model. It can work with a human, but a model is more unilateral in terms of how it functions and it works, okay? So here's my compass to all of you. I call this the ethical compass, and I call it the human at the center, okay? And whenever you start anything from a concept, it has to be from the core. And it cannot be anything else but human. Human dignity at the center. That's how you should begin. Then comes judgment. Then comes transparency. Then comes accountability. And finally, once you've reached all of these stages, then you move to the AI tools that you think will really work. Because every AI decision is still a human decision. Just faster, more scalable, and sometimes less visible out there today. So the compass points inwards before it points forward. If you look at it, it's more inwards before it points forward. So it's important to understand and never lose out the human element that we have in the ethical compass. So when I take back a few leadership lessons from that, number one would be to lead with curiosity and regulate with conscience, ask the right questions. It's important to do that too. AI helps us see patterns, but people help us see purpose. And that's how we should probably understand how your lessons work. And three, the ethics conversation starts every morning with who we choose to empower. Is it the machine or is it the human? I leave the decision to you. And here, for all the CHROs and leaders out there, I give you 3 E's, okay? Enable wisely, empower responsibly, and engage transparently. So when I say enable wisely, match AI to the human benefit, build skills that are human ready, which can help elevate what's the AI functionality that you have today. Now, ask a question to say, does this serve our people? Before you deploy something, enable it wisely. 2, empower responsibly. Now, in your workforce analytics, embed ethics. Bias is a design choice. Remember that. You can step in and remove bias if you wish to from a system. As a human, that is something that you can intervene. 3, share intent, not just outcomes. People are not worried about outcomes anymore. When you start working, everybody wants to understand what's the intent behind this, the why. Start with why. The why narrative is very important. The what can be something that you understand, and the how, magically people will tell you how to do it. And we've got a lot of innovative, creative people across the continent, across the globe. I'm sure people will figure it out, but the why is important. So you need to tell people the why. So, and some numbers out there. So if you see, we got this from SHRM 2026, 46% in leadership development is what CHROs look at. 85% is what they see could be AI integration possibilities. They think 40% of transparency exists today, and 50% is when we are trying to reduce bias, and that's where we are as numbers from where we stand. So AI may guide our work, but humanity defines its worth, okay? So with that, I'll try to bring this to a close to say that no matter what tools and AI that we have, and I'm not debating this, I'm keeping it very simple that AI is here to stay, it's going to come, and with AI is going to be the invent for a lot of things coming our way, but it's important to understand humanity is what defines its worth. So without a human at the end of the table, a decision and artificial intelligence at the end of the day was created by humans. And we should never forget the premise and the accountability that we have. If today a model doesn't do the job it does, who's accountable? I'll leave the answer with you. Okay, that's a question that a lot of us are trying to answer. So start a conversation with people and don't make it a compliance checklist. Go with an intent in mind. And today, when all of you leave this room, commit to one small ethical change that you'll make this quarter. When you go back to your respective organizations, if you have that influencing authority, and if you think you have a seat at the decision table, and if you can make this happen, trust me, it could. So with that, let's talk. Here's some reflective questions I want you to take back. If you have any questions, I can answer them. But I thought, as I promised, I thought I'll keep it simple, clear, succinct. So for me, it's always human at the center, and the compass is my biggest takeaway for all of you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to call upon stage Ms. Asha Subramaniam, CHRO, Daily Rounds and Marrow, to felicitate Sir. Can we have a huge round of applause, please?